Okay, we'll continue on from our last tutorial. What I want to do right now is set up the stage layout. So what we'll do is we'll add some linear gradient fills, some graphics, and we'll use the drawing tools. So the first thing I want to pull out is my info window, which is right here. And I'll pull this out and set it up right here. And what I want to do is lay in some guidelines. So I'm going to show my rulers. And the first guideline that I want to lay in there will be 75 pixels downward. I'll try and use the info tool to get as close as I possibly can. 74 is good enough. Now I'll lay another one at 95. 94 is good enough. And then we'll lay a final one at 475. There we go. Now I can zoom in here and tweak these things by rolling over them, and then I can get even closer to where I'm supposed to be. This one here, move back to 95, scroll down, and this one would be 475. Notice I also have a decimal place right there. That's good enough for what we're trying to do. I'll zoom back out to 50%. Rearrange my stage so you can see it better. What we want to do is make the guides snap to. So I'm going to choose guides, snapping, snap to guides, make sure that's on. And then I want to choose my rectangle tool, and I can go ahead and set the fill color to white. And what I'm going to do is rename this layer as a background. And then I'm going to just draw a rectangle in there. I'm going to double click because I also have a border on there, and I'll delete that. And then I'll use my, well, let's put this back here, use my properties menu to set up my white background. So set the X position to 0, the Y position to 0, and then we want to make it the same size as the stage. So I'm going to grab my free transform tool and just click and make it as close as I possibly can to the stage. And I can always adjust it with my properties menu. So I'm all done with that, and I'm going to lock this off. The next thing I want to do is add some other graphics, some more rectangles for our layout. So I'm going to grab my tool here, and this time I'm going to set the stroke to none, and I'll use one of our preset colors we just built right here, and I'll lay in a rectangle here. And choose a rectangle, make sure it starts at 0, and it's 780 wide, 20 pixels tall, and it can start at 74. We don't need the decimal positions. Grab my rectangle tool again, click and drag. Once more, grab this and make sure it's set at 0, 780 pixels wide, and that's good enough. Now I want to add a tab to the upper left hand corner, so I'm going to come over here and choose my rectangle primitive tool. I'll just draw a here, and then I'll use the properties menu to reposition it. So I'm going to set this, make it 300 pixels wide, and I'm going to set it to 55 pixels tall, and we'll set it to 20 and 20. And then I'll hop it right at there, but we want rounded corners here. So what I want to do is drop in a number, and I'll try 24. Notice that it makes it round on all 4 corners, so I'm going to turn this off and then zero out the lower 2. Final thing I want to do is add a gradient, so I'm going to start off here and open up the paint tools. Actually, I'll show you here. Set it to a gradient. It's off screen right now. But once I have the gradient set up, I can come over here, and before we set up those colors, I can choose my first color and then my second color. And I like that, so now I'm going to go to my swatches and drop that in there, and it'll set it right here. Choose my other shape and lay in a gradient there, and choose this one and lay in a gradient there. So now I have my basic background, and I'll call these this layer graphics, and I'll lock that one down. And that ends chapter 2.